disabilities is a huge discussion all around the world. We're going to take a few minutes and discuss the different opinions. Our first guest, Greg Richards, who's the Executive Director for the Occupational Development Center. Welcome, Greg.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Our second guest is President of Schreiber Pediatrics, James DeBoard. Welcome, James.
Thanks for having me.
Our final guest is Melissa Ressler, who is the Career Counselor Manager, also from the Occupational Development Center. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you, Taylor.
What do you guys think the greatest advancement is that people with disabilities have had?
I would say it's being included more in community, as far as not being segregated and put away with folks of their own kind. Everyone needs to be in the community and of the community.
Absolutely. I would say that the idea of disabilities being something that an individual happens to have, we all have disabilities of some level, but the idea that somehow that makes us different or should segregate us from the world around us, that's no longer acceptable in this world, and that's the way that it absolutely should be. Everyone should be included.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as far as job services, there are so many more options than there were even 5 years ago, even 2 years ago, for folks with disabilities who are looking to be more involved, looking for taking steps towards that competitive employment. There's a place for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you think the greatest challenge is for those people?
Challenge would have to be probably the communication that needs to occur between all of the agencies to provide the services that our folks need to be successful. Those conversations are starting to happen. I mean, as far as the communication, even with the individual who has the disability, when you have a job, it becomes a real big part of your identity. It becomes who you are. And the question needs to be asked at an early age to folks with disabilities. What do you want to be when you grow up? So as far as the challenge is concerned, it's trying to find all those folks and ask them.
James?
For us, it's absolutely a funding issue. Pennsylvania, like 35 other states, uses Medicaid to cover individuals with disabilities for those services. Most healthcare providers won't accept the Medicare payments because for us, it pays us $65 an hour below our cost to provide that service. And as a result, it is tough to exist. We have a $5 million budget. If we don't raise $2.5 million of that every year in philanthropy, our doors would close and access to these services wouldn't be here for those 4,000 children and young adults.
One of the challenges that I've seen is the ability and the willingness of everyone to think outside of the box when it comes to offering employment to someone with a disability. Business owners need to be encouraged and sort of guided through looking at this job position as something that can be changed slightly and to welcome an employee differently than they would before. And that also goes to sometimes folks with disabilities have been comfortable in a situation they've been working at for 10, 20, 15 years and need some help and support to imagine themselves doing their dream job instead of just what they've gotten accustomed to.
Okay. I want to thank you guys for participating.